Most young men are weak and they'll never change. And it's not because they can't, it's because they're not willing to change the things that they're avoiding.
Personal accountability means you're responsible for your own life, which means you are in power. You have the power to control and change your life.
All right, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Caesar, and today we're gonna be talking about not something that has to do with the gym necessarily, but it is a lesson that I learned in the gym. And that's the idea of changing a weak mindset into a growth mindset. And I think a lot of young men nowadays are very, very weak-minded, and it shows physically, it shows emotionally. It was one of the biggest changes that has led me to become the man that I am nowadays. So come join me for a workout and let's talk about it. No, it's not that most men are weak. It's just that they're too comfortable. Most young men nowadays, all they do is scroll on Instagram all day. They eat junk food, or they just avoid anything that demands some sort of effort. And I think that's a huge problem because nowadays, like let's say if you get a comfy job that pays you enough, you don't really have any ambition to go out and do something on your own or start something. Or a lot of men I know personally, it's like some friends of mine, if you watch this, don't take this personal. They find a girlfriend that's tolerable and is still a red flag, but just because that they tolerate them, they think that, you know, all right, that's fine, that's comfortable. I'm gonna stick around with this girl. But go out and find someone you deserve. And I take that mindset into the gym too, because let's say you reach a weight, right, that you finally hit, and now you're comfortable. Now you don't wanna up the weight. Now you don't wanna add 5 pounds. Now you don't wanna add 10 pounds. You kinda just wanna stay at that weight because you finally hit it, and now you don't wanna grow. Comfort kills growth. And if you stay comfortable the rest of your life, you will never grow. The second thing I notice about this generation is that no one has a purpose anymore. Everybody thinks that, oh, once I get my career done, once I have this job, I'm set. I'm gonna just settle down and cruise. No, young men need a purpose. And sometimes you don't find it until your late 20s, late 30s, late 40s. If you're going through life without a purpose, then you're not living. People think that surviving is living. People think that being comfortable is living. Like, it's not. You're supposed to be uncomfortable. For a long time, I thought my purpose was, you know, going to college, getting a career right out of college, and finding a decent girlfriend and just settling down. Like, no, like, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I want to talk about? What is it that I want to share with the world? That's purpose. Once you answer that, what is it that I want to do and what can I do for my community? That's purpose. And that is the same aspect that I learned in the gym. If you come into the gym with no purpose, you're just exercising. And that's not a bad thing. Showing up is half the battle. But actually getting to work and training with a purpose is how you grow. How you grow in muscle, how you grow strength, and how you grow in general. One of the biggest things that I also see with today's young men is that everyone has such a huge ego. Throw your ego out the door. You can't go living life being performative towards other people. I understand what confidence is, but confidence is a completely different term than ego. Ego to me is just portraying something that's not there. You know, you're being fake. Like, dudes come in here, right? In the gym specifically, with beaters and some hoochie daddy shorts to show off their non-existent legs, their mid physique. If you see most of my videos, I'm in here with a hoodie, I wear joggers everywhere. Like, I'm not being performative. I know that I'm strong. And that's the confidence that I walk around with. I'm strong. I don't really have to show everybody else. I let my work speak for myself. And in life, I think that you need to let your work speak for yourself. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares what you look like. They care about what you do, especially as a man. You know, nobody's gonna sit around saying, oh, look, but he looks like he can do this, he looks like he can do that. No, they wanna see what's on your resume. They wanna see what you've done before. They wanna see your past work. And having that as a backup to show everyone like, hey, look at what I've done. Look at my accolades. Look at my successes in life. I want people to judge me based off of that, not based off of what I look like. Now, everything that we've talked about up till now means nothing if you have no structure in your life. The strongest men all have structure in their life. They have 24 hours in one day. And just because 1 hour of the day is dedicated to the gym doesn't mean that the rest of your 23 hours of the day needs to go to shit, right? Strong men have structure. Structure in their sleep, structure in their lives, structure in the gym, structure in their relationships, structure in their business. In all aspects of their life, they have structure. They have discipline. Why? Because you know the saying, you can't outbeat a bad diet? I think that we can change that and say, you can't outbeat a bad lifestyle. Because if your life outside of your business, outside of your relationships, outside of the gym is unstructured, has no discipline, everything else that you do in life just reveals that. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you have no structure in the littlest thing, like going to bed on time, or eating right, or training with purpose, everything else that you do during the day has no meaning. I think that the fastest way to start applying all of these things in your life right now is to stop blaming everybody else. Like, those are the guys that are never gonna grow. The same thing in life. Like, if you blame everybody else for your problems, you give power to those people over your life. And you'll never grow because you can't identify what the problem is. Once you change that mindset and say, everything is my fault, then you can identify what you need to fix. Like, oh, I'm bad in relationships because I didn't have a dad. No, now you give your dad ownership over your relationships. Like, no, I'm bad at relationships because I do this and this and this. And I'm not saying that circumstances are our fault. I'm saying that in those circumstances, what you do afterwards is your fault, is your decision, is your choice. So if you want to start making a change, you need to take back control of your life. And there are only 3 things that you can control. It's what you think, what you say, and what you do. And all of those are going to bleed into everything else. Because once you learn that, you can step out of your comfort zone, you can lose the ego, you can have some sort of structure in your life, start walking around with a purpose, and most importantly, stop blaming everybody else for your problems. So take back control and stop having a weak mindset.